Hello viewers and welcome back to the Elite Karting Series, round 5 of the season at the PF International Circuit. What a track this is, and well, we've already had one race this afternoon, the second race of the day coming up. It is split 1, race 1, and once again we have got a packed out grid for this one. Callum Bendelow starts on pole position ahead of Chris Fuller, who joins him on the front row. Olly Smith and Scott Woosey are row 2, with Karlis Elmanis and Graham Fernandez on row 3. Mind you, this grid slightly mixed up due to wet weather in qualifying, seems to have dried up for now. Lewis Jolly and Adrian Perez-Soroso are row 4, with row 5 being made up of George Braun and newcomer to the series, Jack Metcalf. Chris Phillips is in 11th position with Harrison Fisher and Jamie Sherman-Chase, two drivers hoping to climb their way up in 12th and 13th. Split 1, race 1, about to get underway. Callum Bendelow on pole position ahead of newcomer to the series, Chris Fuller, ready to keep our eye on the digital board as we get ready to go to the lights. Here we go, lights sequence underway. When we go to 5 red lights, we will be racing. His lights out and away we go, and it's a good start for Callum Bendelow on the inside line. A fantastic start at the back. Jamie Sherman-Chase doesn't get the best start either, but Callum Bendelow leads as we make our way into turn 1. And I believe Chris Fuller has been able to hold on to second position, riding on board with George Braun as he makes his way through into turn 3. He gets down to the inside line and ahead of a driver as well. Scott Woosey now on the inside line. He's got trying to follow through Adrian Perez, but Olly Smith goes down the inside line. Olly Smith trying to get past Adrian as well. Callum Bendelow has lost a couple of positions here in the second phase of this lap as we're 3 wide, 4 wide into a hairpin one as Olly Smith goes to the inside line. Olly Smith the beneficiary of all of it. Adrian Perez loses out on a position, so does Callum Bendelow as well. That is crazy racing at the start of this race.
Yeah, absolutely hectic. You even saw Bendelow was on the grass coming out downhill, but here we go in the middle sector and they're still trying to go side by side. You see George Braun fighting away with Jamie Sherman-Chase. He's actually started to recover a couple of places. Harrison Fisher right ahead of him now as they come towards the end of the lap, all in a line as you'd expect. But up front though, it's Chris Fuller that is starting to really pull the advantage at the moment.
It is, and well, Olly Smith doing very well in second position. Chris Fuller flying away into the lead of the race. Scott Woosey, one of our EKS All-Stars drivers, before he'd even raced in the EKS. Chris Phillips now is looking to the inside line to try and find his way through into turn 3, but not able to find a way through in the end of it. He now finds himself under pressure from Harrison Fisher, and by the looks of things, Chris is going to lose that position. Jamie Sherman-Chase the inside line as well. As looking at the drone, we see Callum Bendelow fighting back and getting ahead of Adrian Perez-Soroso. 3 wide further back as Jamie Sherman-Chase now tries to find his way past Harrison Fisher and Chris Phillips, and does, riding on board with George Braun as he goes to the inside line, gets past Chris Phillips, now looks to go one more here ahead of Scott Woosey. Can't find a way through, though it does find a way through in fact, and now on the outside line of Harrison Fisher as well, as Harrison dives to the inside and is able to hold on to the position for now. Chris Fuller then lonely time in the lead of this race, doing a very good job as well. Olly Smith in second position, Graham Fernandez sitting in third ahead of Adrian Perez-Soroso, but that'll change at the end of this lap, I'm sure. Karlis Elmanis is trying to find his way past Callum Bendelow as well. You can see on board with him just how much speed he's taking through these corners. He's only at 30 mile an hour as he makes his way through the final corner, and we'll probably get up to about 50 by the end of this straight to try and get past Callum Bendelow as well. So the lap times, or the order at the end of 2 laps, as George Braun looks to the inside line of Harrison Fisher and finds his way through. It's Chris Fuller ahead of Olly Smith, Graham Fernandez, Adrian Perez-Soroso and Callum Bendelow.
Yeah, and Jamie Sherman-Chase fighting away with Scott Woosey for 7th as they cross the bridge. Let's see if he gets through. It's very, very tight with Bendelow and Elmanis as well. You can see Elmanis just being shuffled back a little bit into the path of Woosey as well, and into that battle with Jamie Sherman-Chase, which is not where he wanted to be.
Absolutely, as now Karlis Elmanis is overtaken by Jamie Sherman-Chase. It's a bit of crazy racing actually as he gets overtaken by 2 drivers. I think Scott Woosey finds his way through as well on Jamie Sherman-Chase, but eventually Jamie is going to settle into a rhythm now, and Karlis Elmanis looks at that car just ahead of him, so not the ideal situation for Karlis at the moment. He would be hoping to be further up in the upper echelons of this field, as now he is going to have a gap pulled on him slightly here by Scott Woosey, a mistake from Karlis Elmanis. Running on board again with George Braun. He's been busy in this race. It's Harrison Fisher just ahead of him. Let's see what Harrison does as he ducked behind the steering wheel. George Braun gets the run on him, goes to the inside line. Is there a way through here for George Braun? Down the inside into turn 2 and through turn 3, and he can't quite find a way through on the outside line. Scott Woosey now to the inside line of Callum Bendelow and finds a way through. What a move that is.
Certainly was. He came from a long way back there, as we see now Jamie Shimmer chases all over the back of that looks like Graham Fernandez now in the battle for what is 4th place there. But yeah, Karlis Elmanis points leader, really being defending well from Jack Metcalfe at the moment. But as I say, he's going backwards in this race rather than forwards. As George Braun, on the other hand, having a look around the outside, just behind Harrison Fisher and somebody else as well.
George Braun then having a look at Chris Phillips at this point in the race, and can't quite find a way through, and through down into the top of the circuit they go as Harrison Fisher looks to make some progress as well. What can Chris do here on the outside line? He goes looking all the way around the outside line, trying to find a way through. Harrison Fisher blocks him off ever so slightly, and Chris Phillips is stuck at the moment between a rock and a hard place. If he finds a way through, then well, he's going to be able to get through, but George Braun will be there to pounce if any move he makes isn't going to be possible. Through turn 2 and into turn 3 they go. George Braun stalking this battle. Chris Phillips trying to find a way through, and Harrison Fisher is under a lot of pressure, but at the moment Harrison Fisher is cool under the pressure.
Yeah, and while we're watching this, Jamie Shimmer Chase has got past Fernandez up to 4th position then. So great progress. Seems like a real opportunist on track at the moment. Shimmer Chase from the very back of the grid, now to just outside the podium places. But he is going to start challenging Adrian Perez before long, I think.
So Chris Fuller in the lead of this one, ahead of Olly Smith, ahead of Adrian Presseroso, Jamie Shimmer Chase and Graham Fernandez. You can see the field streaming through in the drone shot. Everyone from about 3rd all the way down to 12th is within a few seconds of each other. Best chance for us to have a look at this battle is with George Braun at the moment, as Scott Woosey as well keeping an eye on the driver just ahead of him. He's got Graham Fernandez ahead of him, and if he can get past Graham, then he'll be hoping to get some better progress up into 4th position, where Jamie Shimmer Chase is currently sat. As we cross the line to reveal where everyone is still, Scott Woosey tries to get past Graham Fernandez. He's on he's on a fantastic run here to the outside line. He goes. Chris Phillips under pressure from George Braun now. Scott Woosey goes down the inside line and finds a way through. That's a really tidy move from Scott. He's up into 5th position as Chris Phillips now to the inside line of Harrison Fisher. Long time coming, that move, and this time he makes it stick.
Yeah, there we go, getting very hectic near the back, but Jamie Shimmer Chase has passed Adrian Perez down the start-finish straight to take 3rd position there. So what a great comeback through the field he's made. It's going to be a little bit tricky to stay there, of course, because Adrian Perez no slouch whatsoever around here, but the real battle is right behind Fernandez, with Woosey, Bendelow, Elmanis 6th, 7th, 8th onwards, really. That's where it's getting very, very tight. Oh, as Woosey's just fended off there by Fernandez.
Karlis Elmanis, Scott Woosey and Graham Fernandez all very, very close together. They've got Callum Bendelow just behind as well, as we see Jamie Shimmer Chase looking to hold on to 3rd position ahead of Adrian Presseroso. Adrian is catching up so quickly to Jamie Shimmer Chase. George Braun similarly looking to attack Harrison Fisher here as Scott Woosey looks to the outside line into turn 2 and turn 3's on the outside line through turn 1, but he's held off for the time being by Graham Fernandez, as he knows that just behind him as Karlis Elmanis is trying to make up some progress. He knows that it's all kicking off now. Callum Bendelow involved as well. He gets past Karlis Elmanis as Scott is under pressure from Karlis as well. Callum Bendelow trying to cut the lines across all over the curbs. Everyone on the curbs. Callum Bendelow to the inside line. He gets past Karlis Elmanis. Now Scott Woosey under pressure, putting the pressure on, I should say, around the outside line. He finds the position as Callum Bendelow back to the inside line, gets past Graham Fernandez himself, as it'll be 2 lanes of running here in 2 hairpin 2. Callum Bendelow on the outside line. Karlis Elmanis holds him off for the time being and is just about able to find his way through. Callum Bendelow, his progress is halted at this stage.
Indeed it is, but Elmanis getting really boxed in, which created that opportunity for Bendelow to sort of counter-attack there. So Elmanis really had to get his elbows out quite literally there to keep Bendelow behind. Of course, the pole sitter has dropped down the field, but still running in 8th and right in the thick of the action then, with Metcalf and now Harrison Fisher trying to get alongside him as they cross the start-finish line. This could get a bit close into the first couple of corners.
It is as George Braun is on the inside line. He's defended for now, looking just ahead of him. Oh no, Harrison Fisher dives his nose up the inside line, catches George Braun a little bit unawares and is able to find his way through. Callum Bendelow similarly looking to make some progress here, as he's got of course Graham Fernandez just ahead of him, Karlis Elmanis as well. This battle all the way back through to about 10th position is continuing on as George Braun now looks to the inside line and finds his way through. Good stuff from George Braun. What can Callum Bendelow do as Karlis Elmanis is looking for 4th position, I believe it is. Oh no, it's not 4th position, it's 6th position as Scott Woosey is under pressure and overtaken now. It's 5th position, excuse me. Karlis is able to find his way through into turn 8 and Karlis up into top 5. You can't keep Karlis Elmanis quiet for long. Callum Bendelow, what can he do, Ed?
Well, we'll see. He's alongside then on the back corner there, but unable quite to clear. I think that must be Jack Metcalf. He's just holding at bay there as George Braun actually finding Jack Metcalf, just down at third bound for 9th. So yeah, Bendelow and Fernandez getting very, very close and physical, but Bendelow holds that 7th position for the time being. But it's really just a battle for survival, I think, for Callum Bendelow at the moment.
Yeah, and I believe we're into the closing stages of this race. I don't think this will be the final lap, but the next one might well be, as Callum Bendelow's forced out there slightly. That was very, very aggressive. George Braun now under pressure. Callum Bendelow squeezes through. Everyone getting their elbows out here at this point in the race as George Braun now goes back to the inside line. Is there a way through for him into hairpin 1? There is. George Braun gets past Callum Bendelow, who's sinking in this lap as Harrison Fisher gets past him. Chris Phillips now on the outside of George Braun as well, as they make their way into a hairpin 2 as George is able to hold on to Chris Phillips, who now gets past Graham Fernandez as well. So Chris Phillips looking to attack George Braun. Here goes Harrison Fisher to the inside line of Graham Fernandez, but isn't able to find his way through as we head into the closing stages. Karlis Elmanis holding on to 5th position at the moment. Tatiana Professoroso comfortable in 4th. Scott Woosey just behind. It's at this stage, as I say, that equation has changed ever so slightly on this lap, as I believe Jack Metcalf has been able to find his way through as we get to the line. I believe now we're starting the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Elmanis and Woosey still side by side as they go through the first corner, and is that Metcalf trying to get involved as well. Metcalf goes round the outside of Woosey as they go under the bridge and round that long left-hander uphill so they can go over the bridge, and now Metcalf fancies to go Elmanis as they go side by side. A little bit of side-to-side contact there, but they both survive while Elmanis goes a little bit offline, and up the inside through goes Jack Metcalf, and Woosey is going to try and follow him through and go up the inside of both of them in the hairpin. Is it going to be a double move for Scott Woosey? Almost just has to collect on an exit, and it gets a little hectic there. Round the outside goes Metcalf, back through.
Yeah, Jack Metcalf is all of a sudden the main beneficiary of this in 5th position, as I'm sure we'll see the checkered flag at the end of this lap, if not at the end of the next lap. So Karlis Elmanis loses a couple of positions, shows you how such a delicate game this race actually is, as it looks like we are going to get the checkered flag this time by, and it will be Chris Fuller who takes victory in Split 1, Race 1. What a drive from Chris Fuller ahead of Olly Smith, who's had a quiet time himself. So checkered flag, Jack Metcalf will be in 5th position at the end of this one, just ahead of Scott Woosey and Karlis Elmanis. What a cracking race, as drag race in the background, as I believe Chris Phillips couldn't quite find his way past George Braun. That was some incredible racing.
That was indeed. So Chris Fuller then ended up taking the victory by over 5 seconds ahead of Olly Smith in what must be one of the most impressive debuts we've ever seen in the EKS. Olly came home then in 2nd place, both Chris and Olly making their debut here at PFI. Jimmy Chase meanwhile put his track knowledge to good use to go all the way from 13th place on the grid up to P3 by the end, ahead of Adrian Perez. Jack Metcalf was at the front of that pack. That was a game of musical chairs, and Jack came out on top when the checkered flag came out ahead of Scott Woosey. Championship leader Karlis Elmanis got really unlucky in that race, couldn't break away from the pack, and he ended up in 7th position ahead of George Braun, who then had Chris Phillips for company ahead of Graham Fernandez. Harrison Fisher came home in 11th place, and then pole sitter Callum Bendelow ended up all the way down in 12th place in that race. He was on the receiving end of quite a lot of contact, to be honest. It's not what we like to see here in the EKS. And Louis Jolly got really unlucky in that race. He had a broken kart, hence why he was 3 seconds a lap off the pace. Probably should have brought it in hindsight, but he ended up down in 13th place. We're hoping for better things to come. You can now hear from Olly Smith down in the grandstand. Okay, I'm here with Olly Smith. It's your first time racing at PFI. How did your first race go?
Not bad. I seemed to break away from the pack at the start and then, just hold that gap. Bit of a lonely race because I couldn't catch Chris in front. Wasn't in love with the kart, but can't complain too much.
And how was the track?
The track is fantastic. I can't believe I've never raced here before, and I'm definitely coming back because it's such an adventure to get around.
Brilliant. Well, I'm pleased you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you.